Alright, you guys, so it's Sunday. It's the next day, or next morning. It's about noon or so. Just got up, so I went up to Walmart. I got some oil and oil filter. I got some transmission fluid and some antifreeze. So I got some concentrate. Got some transmission fluid. Some oil and filter. So, got everything I need. So now, I need to start grabbing some tools. I need to get this chain off of here. I need to start getting this thing torn down. So, y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna have the tripod and some tools, and I'll get you guys on the tripod so we can start getting this thing torn down. So, y'all stay tuned. Alright, you guys, so I just got the alternator bracket off. It was real easy. It's just three 15mm bolts right in here. So I just got that off. I'm trying to do a step-by-step for you guys, but my phone's acting up and it keeps freezing up and turning off and turning back on. So I don't know how much step-by-step I'm going to get, but the next thing, I've got these two 15s on this coil pack bracket. Those got to come off. All the plug wires got to come off. Then after that, I got to get the fuel rail off with the plug wires and the fuel rail. Once I get the fuel rail off, I can get the upper intake manifold bolts. They're just a bunch of 8s and 2 10s. I believe underneath this nut here, like this is a 10, and then this one back here for the heat shield on the EGR is a 10, and all the other ones are 8s. And then on the lower intake manifold, these are all 3/8 going all the way around. So I'm going to start getting some work done on this, get this torn down, and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all, so I got the coil pack bracket undone from the ICM. So I guess next thing, I can go ahead and get this fuel rail off. So it's just going to be 4 10mm. You got one up front there, one right there, and one there, and one there. So I'm going to get these 4 nuts off real quick. Alright, so now that we've got those, I can start getting this upper intake. So this pin comes off with this bracket, and this pin. And if you go back here to the EGR heat shield, there's a tin there. And the rest of these are an 8mm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of those. Now them coolant O-rings just stuck to the lower intake. That's alright, that happens sometimes. Get those old coolant O-rings off. Put my bolts together. Alright. So now that the upper's off, now I can get to these two bolts or 13s that hold this dogwheel mount bracket on. And get this bracket off. And go ahead and pull this EGR tube off. And then once I get this bracket off, I can pull the valve covers. Then start getting this lower intake manifold undone. So y'all stay tuned. Keep you guys updated. Alright. The engine mount bracket. Next is going to be the EGR tube. So I'm going to have to take the crossover off. Alright, the next thing will be this rear heat shield. Alright, y'all. I guess I've got to take off some exhaust heat shields. Because back here, I got this one off, but this one is blocked by this heat shield. So I got to undo these. They're either 10s or 3/8. And then I can get this bracket off. And then I'll be able to get to this bracket. And then I can start undoing the rear exhaust manifold. I've got to undo the crossover pipe on the front and the rear. And it looks like I'm going to have to undo this front heat shield to get to these rear bolts. So that's alright, making progress. So I'm going to keep working on this thing. And then I'm going to throw my phone on the charger for a minute. And I'll give you guys another update here in a bit. Sure enough, guys, look at there. So you seen, I showed you all those lower intake bolts. Look at this. That is just nasty gunk. Those are actually nice gaskets too. These are the good ones. So somebody's done gaskets and I don't know what happened, but look at that gunk. That's in the head. All that's in the head. So yeah, these are definitely going to have to come off. I'm going to have to keep my push rods in the same order. And I'm just going to have to swap the heads. So I'm about to get the valve covers off. I just wanted to show you guys that, how crazy that is. That is super fucking gunked on both heads. That is definitely a blockage. It is definitely clogging up, not letting the coolant circulate, which would make the engine get hot, which is why it's been overheating. So it was pretty much exactly what I was thinking, except I was thinking it was clogging the holes in the actual gasket down here. Not there, but I mean, that's crazy ridiculous. But it's alright. I've got all new gaskets. I've got other heads, so it's all good. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to get it back together today. So I'm going to keep working on this thing. I got to get these valve covers off and get the heads off, and get this timing cover off, which means I got to pull this crank pulley and the crank sensor, which that's the brand new crank sensor I put on here. I know. It's coming, so y'all stay tuned. I'll definitely keep you guys updated as I make some more progress. Alright guys, so I made some more progress. I got the lower intake manifold cleaned up. I sprayed it off, wire wheeled everything, sprayed it off again, just cleaned it up. I have another one that was in the shed that I was planning on using, but it was a little bit dirtier and gunkier than this one, and I hadn't cleaned it up yet. So I just decided to just reuse this one. So I cleaned it up. I got this little side cover off and wire wheeled it all up, wire wheeled the cap. So once I go in and grab the gasket set, I'll have the gasket. I bolted the throttle body back on the upper intake, which I'm going to have to pull it back off to put the gasket in there. So I don't know why I put it on there. But I went ahead and I painted up the upper intake manifold, so it's all nice and red to match everything else. And it should look really nice. So, made a little bit of progress there. Also, I got the... Ooh, that was a wasp I just hit with the camera. Did you see that? Yeah, I got all of the rockers undone, so I just need to pull the rockers out, and then I need to lay out the push rods in the same order so they can go back in the same order that they're in now, since I'm using the same lifters and the same rockers. So I need to get these rockers pulled off and the push rods pulled off and set to the side so I can unbolt the heads and get the heads off. And then once I get the heads and the old gaskets off, I need to wire wheel everything, get it all cleaned up on both sides, and then I can go ahead and put the new heads on and get the rockers and the push rods back in, and then I can pull the timing cover and get that front shit done. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated as I make some more progress once I get these heads off. Alright y'all, so I made a little more progress. So I got the front heads, rockers, and push rods set over here, and just kind of set them down and organize them the same way they come out, so I know exactly how they need to go back in the new head. And then over here, all the head bolts are a 14mm or a 9/16, and I had to break every one of them free with a breaker bar, and then I just backed them out with a 1/2-inch drive impact. And then to get to this one here, I had to remove the exhaust manifold stud, and if you look at the end, it's got a little socket. It's a 5.5mm, 5.5mm, and that pulled that stud right out. I was able to get that head bolt, and so now this head is ready to come off. And then I also removed that bracket that was on here for the dog bone, just because they're kind of hard to come by, and I want to keep it as a backup. So I'm going to go ahead and get this head pulled off of here. I'll throw you guys on the tripod real quick. Alright. Oh yeah. There it goes. Doesn't look too bad. Alright, so inside of this engine is actually looking pretty decent, so I'm actually really happy with it. All this is looking really nice. None of these coolant passages are clogged up or anything, so it's coming along really good. So now I've got to get this head out of the way, go do something with it, and I don't know, that's just crazy how clogged those are. See, what I was talking about these coolant passages. See how tiny those holes are? That's what lets the water circulate through your engine, are these little holes. So for this whole coolant passage, it just gives you a tiny little hole, which I really don't like that, but that's how they're designed and they work, so it is what it is. So yeah, a lot of it was definitely this clog between the head and the lower intake manifold gaskets. That's just crazy ridiculous. But alright, so front head is now off. Now I can work on getting this rear one off. And it's going to be the same thing. I've got to move these rockers and push rods out of the way, set them to the side, organize them the same way I did those. And then just break all these head bolts free. Looks like there's not a stud here, so I can get to all the head bolts. And then I get this head off. I'm also pulling the spark plugs out because they're brand new AC Delco Iridiums that I put in there. So I'm going to reuse those spark plugs, and then once I get these heads off, I can get all this wire wheeled. I grab the new gasket set, spray the new head gaskets with the copper spray, get those on. I'm putting the ARP head studs in and using the ARP head studs. So it's definitely, it's coming together. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update once I get this rear head off and I'm about to start wire wheeling. Alright you guys, so both heads are off. Cylinders are looking good. Cylinders actually look great. Pistons are a little dirty, but it's alright. So I'm going to try to throw something over the lifter galley and try to get all this all cleaned up and wire wheeled. And that way I can start getting new gaskets on there and start getting this thing put back together. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I got the wire wheel all ready. I just took some plastic bags and shoved in here just to kind of keep crap from falling in there. Hopefully the wire wheel doesn't catch it and rip it out of there, but I'm going to try to get this stuff wire wheeled real quick. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. Alright, so just got her all wire wheeled and cleaned up. Wiped the cylinders out. She's looking good. Looking good. So I took some of that old oil from the 07. It's over there for the braking oil, and I just dumped some in here just to rinse all the gunk out down into the pan because I'm draining the pan anyways. So any extra gunk that got in here should rinse down into the pan, and then whenever I drain it, then should get most of it out. So I guess now I can go inside and grab the gasket set and the head studs and start getting the head studs threaded in and get the head gasket sprayed down with copper spray and start getting this thing put back together. So I'm going to go inside and grab some parts and get them out here, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright y'all, well I started getting the ARP head studs in, and I got 7 on one side, and then my thread tape decided to fuck up. So David just ran to his house to see if he has some. He says he thinks he does, so now I'm just kind of stuck and waiting. But so I've got the gasket test fitted on here. Looks like everything's good. So once I get these sprayed down with the copper spray, they can go on. Everything should be good to go. So everything's looking all nice and clean, and I'm just waiting to get these other head studs in so I can start getting this thing put back together. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright guys, making some progress. So I've got my rockers and push rods. Got the upper intake all nice and painted up. Got the lower intake all cleaned up. So all that's good. David just texted me and said he found some thread tapes and he's on the way back over. So once we get the rest of these other 9 head studs thread taped, we get those in, get them tightened down, we can copper spray the gaskets, and then we can get the heads on and get those torqued down and be one step closer. And I'm probably going to get the heads on and then get the lower intake manifold on and the upper intake manifold on, and then I'll pull the timing cover. That way I'm keeping all this clean. So I'm going to keep working on this thing. I'm waiting for David to get here, and we'll get this thing slapped back together, and I'll give you guys another update whenever we are going to copper spray the head gaskets and get the heads on. Alright you guys, so David's back. He brought me the thread tape that he had. Thank you very much, David. So we got all the front ones all thread taped, and I've got them snugged down with the Allen wrench. I got that last one on the rear. So now we can get these gaskets. I'm probably going to just hang them from the chain or something and spray them one at a time with the copper spray. And then we'll spray it on both sides and then stick it on there, and I'll go grab the head and we'll slide the head on and start getting them nice and tightened down and everything while it's still kind of gooey before the copper spray dries completely. So I guess I'm gonna lift this up, and I guess if David wants to spray one of those gaskets, I'll go in and grab the head, and I'll give you guys another update here in a minute. Alright y'all, so David's helped me out a lot. We got David sprayed down both the gaskets with the copper spray, while I went inside and got the heads, and he sprayed the gasket, set it on, I slid the head on, and then he put the washers and I put the nuts, and I've just got them snug down. I haven't torqued them yet, so I still got to torque them before I put the rockers back on. But I just slid all the push rods back in their places where they go, and then now I've got to grab the torque wrench so I can get all these torqued. I got to get the lube on there to help it torque them down, and we got to do 30, 60, 90. So 30 on both, 60 on both, 90 on both, and then it should be good to go. And then I can get the lower intake manifold and gaskets back on there and start getting this thing put back together. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright you guys, so I just got my gasket set on there, put my RTV in each corner and across the bridge, and then set the lower intake on, made sure it was all nice and clean. Now I've got all the bolts. So I've got to take the RTV, put a little bit of RTV around the bolts, put every bolt in. So that's what I'm about to start doing right now. I've got to wire wheel these down, get them all nice and clean of all this old RTV and shit. Most of them are already pretty clean. And then throw a little RTV on there, get them in, tighten them down, we'll be good to go. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I just got the lower intake on and just snug down. I RTV'd every one of these bolts. There's 12 of them. They are all a 3/8. And then I just set the valve covers on here. I still got to torque down the head, so I'm about to grab the torque wrench and get the heads torqued on. 30, 60, 90. And then once I get the heads torqued down, I'll torque down the lower intake. And then I'll be able to get the new gasket and everything that's right here in the upper intake and get it put back on and start getting this thing looking like an engine again. So y'all stay tuned. I'll grab the torque wrench and I'll give you guys another update whenever I'm torquing the heads. Alright y'all, so I just started here. I've got it set to 30 foot-pounds, and I did this one. So you want to start in the middle and do a crisscross. So since I started here, I'm going to go to this one, 30. And I'll go to this one, 30. And then I'll go here, 30. Then you do the outside crisscross. So start in this corner. Alright, go to this corner. And back to this corner. And back to this corner. So that's all of them at 30. So now, I'm going to adjust this, get this up to 60. And we're going to do it again. Start at the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now final pass, 90. Normally I do both heads at the same time. I'm just showing you what I'm doing here. Alright, 90 foot-pounds. Start same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now my front head is completely torqued. Whew. So now this side's ready for the rockers and the new valve covers, gaskets. Get that old one out. Just gonna set this valve cover back on here for now. And I'm gonna go do the rear one. Whew. Alright you guys, so I just got the rear head torqued down 30, 60, 90. So now I can torque down the lower intake manifold. I believe it's 27 foot-pounds, but whenever I did the 07 engine and even Nick's engine on his Buick Park Avenue, whenever I did his Series 2 lower intake manifold gaskets, I did 30 foot-pounds and had no issue. So I'm going to torque the lower intake manifold issue down to 30 foot-pounds, and then I still got to swap out the valve cover gaskets and get the rockers on. But she's going back together looking like an engine again. So y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated once I get this upper intake on and get the rockers back on and torqued down and make some more progress. So alright you guys, so I made a little more progress and I forgot to record it. So I got the rear one done. I got the new valve cover gasket in there, new grommets, got it tightened down, rockers are torqued, front rockers are torqued. So this is how I did it. To keep the new gasket held into the valve cover, I put a dab of RTV in like every corner and then put the gasket into the valve cover, and then that way your gasket will stay in the valve cover when you go to put it on. Then you take all your new grommets and put them into the holes. Then you take the screw and plop it through the hole after it's already in the grommet or in the cover, because if not, then you're going to have a hard time getting these little pieces through the hole. So if you put those in first and then put the bolt through, then it's much easier. So let me get the gasket set in here and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright y'all, see, so I've got the gasket set in place and now it'll stay in while I go to put it on. So now get it set where it needs to go. You see the holes are lined up. Then you take your grommets, plop your grommet in place, and take your bolt. It just works so nice and easy. Then take all your other grommets, go around. Oh, make sure you get all of them in the holes so they stick. Boom. Boom. There. Now got the rest of the hardware. Just pop those through. Start the thread. Pop it through. Start the threads. And just like that. Got new valve cover gaskets and new grommets. And that's if you're doing engine gaskets. If you're just doing the transmission swap, I'd really just go watch the other video because it's just transmission swap. But this is kind of both. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you can take your 3/8, tighten all those down, and then you're good to go for valve covers. Now, my kit also came with the new throttle body gasket, like I said earlier, so I've got to undo those 4 10mm, swap out that gasket, throw it back on there, and then that'll be good to go. And I've got to throw some RTV on this rear cover with the gasket, and I put RTV on both sides of the gasket, and it goes right there on the lower intake manifold. So we've got to get that RTV'd and get that on there, and that throttle body gasket. And it's pretty much a just about a complete engine again. And then the fuel rails are right there with the 4 nuts that hold the fuel rail on. And then before I can put the alternator bracket or anything back on, I've got to pull the timing cover, which means I got to take off the crank pulley, pull the timing cover, pull the crank sensor, all that, get that AC compressor off there. And then I'm going to be putting on that red timing cover that I've already redone and got a new front seal and everything in. So, making major progress. So y'all stay tuned and I'll give you guys another update, I guess, once I get this fuel rail and stuff on. Alright, you guys, she's looking like an engine again. So I'm about to start getting the front manifold on. Got the gaskets there. I have another set of gaskets in the car that are a little cleaner than those. I might end up using the cleaner ones. But yeah, I just got to get some gaskets on and get this front manifold on, and then get the rear manifold on, and then get the crossover. Everything's sitting over here. So just got to finish getting all this stuff back together, and then I can pull this timing cover off and swap the timing chain with this Rollmaster single roller I got out that Bonneville. And I don't think I'm going to end up doing the main studs right now because I'm not pulling the oil pan off. So yeah, I just got to get this timing cover off so I can get it swapped out and swap out that timing chain. And as long as everything else looks good, then it should just go back together. I got a new gasket for it right there. And then once I get the red timing cover back on, I can get the alternator bracket with those coolant elbows back on and get this thing back together, and then it'll really be looking like an engine again. And then all I have to do is swap out the AC compressor, which I have another one in the shed. Excuse me. So yeah, it's coming along. I'm making great progress. So, and once I get this thing together, then I can grab that transmission and get it married up, and shit, we'll be good to go. We'll be gravy. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated as I keep making progress. Alright, you guys, so I got a lot more done. Got all the exhaust on, front, rear manifolds, crossover pipe, got the EGR tube on, got that rear cover on and RTV'd. Everything's tight. Got my heat shields on, got the O2 back on and tight. I think the only thing I'm missing is that one nut or bolt for right there for that hook, and it's just one of those little short ones. So I'll find one for that and get that on. Got the front dog bone mount on. This hook's all on. Everything's tight. So made a shit ton of progress. So I still need to get this crank pulley pulled off, get the timing cover off, get the AC compressor off, so I can get this timing cover on. I'm changing that water pump to that one, and then getting that all on here. Then I can get the alternator bracket put on and the coil pack bracket put on and start getting everything put back together and get it married up to the transmission. And then I'll be ready to get the harness back on and then get it all put back in the car. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. I think it's about to start pouring down rain, so I'm trying to hurry up and get this done, but making lots of progress. So y'all stay tuned. Okay guys, so I got the crank pulley off using the puller kit. So now I just gotta pop this plastic thing off. Here, let me get some light. Pop this off. There we go. And then 13. So I've got water pump bolt. There's another one over there. There's another one right there. Hell yeah, I got it. And then it's not going to come off yet. There's one behind the pulley. So I need an 8. No, that's the 10. There you go. The 8, bam, yeah. Okay. I'm going to zip these 4 water pump pulley bolts off. And then put that 13 back on there. It's not going to come off till I get those oil pan bolts out the bottom. So. There's my brand new crank pulley, or crank sensor, I mean. Oh, damn. There we go. Let's throw all those in there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I've got to get these. There's like two bolts in this front, 2 or 3 bolts in this front timing cover that'll go through the oil pan. I got to get those out before the timing cover will come off. But other than that, all the other bolts holding it to the engine are out, so it's just those down there holding this on. And once I get those out, we can pop this timing cover off. And I think David wants to see what the inside of this water pump looks like, because I think it's just gone.
I want to see if it still has blades or not.
But yeah, I gotta get this off so I can get it all cleaned up. I got a brand new gasket sitting up there on the hood. And we'll get this red one plopped on here. And I think I might swap out this sensor because I just put this sensor on here and I know it's good. So, y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys. So, we got the engine lifted up. We got the oil drained. Got the timing cover off. The old one's sitting over there. Got the old timing set off. I put it at top dead center first. So when I line up my new one, I know everything's correct. Got my 0 here, got my dot here. Everything's in time, tensioner's on. So now I just got to clean up this bolt, put some red thread locker on there because I don't have any blue thread locker. And I'm going to get that in there and get it nice and snug. And then I've got to put my oil pump drive gear on. And timing set is done. So it's coming along. And then I can get the new timing cover on. I've already swapped out the water pump. And then I need to put a new gasket between this filler neck. So, definitely making some progress though. So, y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all. So, I just got this oil filter housing and the timing cover all cleaned up and got a new gasket in there. I've got the bottom nice and cleaned up. It already has the new front seal. I put the new water pump on there. So, David's been working on the timing cover gasket, trying to get it off. I guess I could have waited to do the timing chain until after that was done. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I'm keeping the shit out of there.
Alright, cool. But shit's coming together. As soon as this is all cleaned up and we get all this old gasket off, but we can get the new gasket on and put some RTV down in the corners.
Looks good on this side.
And then I still got to get this, some red Loctite on there and get that in there. And yeah, just set that in there for now. I'll make sure to get some Loctite on it though. That way it just don't fall off or nothing. But hell yeah, making lots of progress. So thanks again for the help, David. You're welcome. Coming in clutch. So. Alright, we're going to keep working on this thing, and I'll give you guys another update whenever we're about to get the timing cover put back on. Alright, you guys, so David got all the timing cover gasket all cleaned up. So, I'm about to grab this other gasket over here and kind of skim some RTV on the back of it and get it set up here where it needs to go. And then I'll put some RTV on the front side of it and get it on there. I got to pull this crank bolt out, and I got to slide the oil pump drive gear on there. But other than that, it should all go together. I'll put some RTV down here in the corners and probably along this whole edge here.
I wiped this down, but not
down there. Well, it's cool. We'll wipe it down before it goes together. Yeah, he's got it looking nice and cleaned up. Thank you very much, David.
You're welcome.
And then I still got to get this tightened up and Loctited as well, so I can't
Loctite.
forget about that. So y'all stay tuned. I'm going to get this done, get this timing cover on here, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all, so we got the timing cover back on, got it all RTV'd, got the crank sensor on, got the water pump pulley on. So now I've just got to get the crank pulley put on. I've got to, before I put the crank pulley on, I got to run my wire back to the cam sensor and tuck it back behind here, because it makes it a hell of a lot easier if you do it all beforehand. I have another AC compressor in the shed I've got to grab, so I can bolt that on before I plug in the sensor and all that. But man, we made a shit ton of progress. It's all thanks to David. We still got to get the engine bracket bolted back on, and I got the new oil filter in there. I can get that on, fill her up with the new fresh oil, and pretty much be ready to marry up to the new transmission and get the wire harness and everything all put back on, and she'll be ready to drop back in the car. So y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all, look, she's looking like an engine again. Looks good. Hell yeah. I know what it is about red, but I just love black and red, so it just looks good. But she's just about ready. I gotta get this alternator bracket back on here with the coolant elbows, get the coolant elbows RTV'd, get that tightened back down, and put the AC compressor on that's in the shed, and then I can plug in the crank sensor, and then it's just going to be running the wire harness once I get the transmission hooked up to it. So it's coming along. It's starting to rain a little bit, so I'm probably going to pick up some tools, try to organize a little bit, get some of this other shit out of the way that we're not using, and like I'm done with that pulley puller, so I can get that back in the trunk, and we're done with the scraper, so I can get that out of here and just kind of make some room. Maybe try to scoot that transmission over. I got to pull that diff cover off and that dipstick tube. And I don't know, yeah, I've still got to set the engine back down so I can use the cherry picker to go grab the trans and get it over here without dragging it, because I don't want to fuck up the pan or anything. But man, she's coming along. Coming along great. Look at that rear cover. The rear main seal looked brand new still. So I didn't even mess with the rear main. But everything else got new gaskets except for the oil pan, so everything's looking great. Looking nice. So, shit ton of progress today. So we're going to keep going. At least I'm going to keep going. David might go soon if it starts pouring down rain.
My dog does not like rain.
Yeah, she does not, so. But alright, I'm going to keep working on this thing, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, so we got the coolant elbows and the alternator bracket back on. Got the oil filter on. So, everything. Oh, got the other AC compressor out of the shed and got it on. So, I'm pretty sure that's everything. Engine mount bracket's back on. So, now it's just going to be the transmission and then wire harness. Get the flex plate, the torque converter bolts, and then get the starter in. And that's pretty much it. It's just marrying up the trans and then getting the harness on, and then once I set it in, then the power steering pump can go on and belts can go back on. And I need to get the spark plug wires on. So it's coming together. Made a shit ton of progress today, and this engine looks so good being all red. I love it. I really like it a lot. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated as I make some more progress. Alright, y'all, so we've made a shit ton of progress. The engine and transmission are married. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but we got her done. And I've got the flex plate torque converter bolts back in and tight. So now it's just going to be bolting the starter back in and running all the wires back to everything and getting everything plugged back in. I've got a couple bolts sitting up there that are my ground for here, and actually I think it's for that bolt there as well. So I'll get those swapped around, and then pretty sure that's about it. Oh, plug wires. I got to get the spark plug wires ran and put on. But other than that, everything's on. Got the rear bracket, thanks to David. He helped me get that all hooked up. And we got everything on, so got all the bell housing bolts back in. So we're good.
Getting the plastic
Making
back
a
on for the
shit ton of progress. Yeah, we've got this, I gotta clean up this dust shield that goes under here. And it's got 2 bolts that bolt here and here. And that's just a dust shield for here. And then once you bolt the starter in, there's another dust shield for the starter. And I've got that one sitting over there as well. So, transmission leaked a little bit. We had to swap out the dipstick tube because I had to bend the other one whenever we bought the transmission so that the trans would fit into the trunk of the 97. But man, it's really coming together. I made a shit ton of progress today. David's helped me out so much. If it wasn't for David, I don't think I would have got everything done. So really, thank you again, David. I know I kind of get like at times, and sorry, but just been trying to get this shit done. Like,
there were some frustrating moments.
Yes, very. So my bad if I ever come off like naggy or some shit or disrespectful. Just tell me shut the fuck up. So, but hell yeah, lots of progress. Very happy with it. So, just about ready to start dropping this thing back into the car. So, just got to get this harness all spread out, get the starter in, and I got to get these trans cooler lines popped out of here. I was kind of debating on go ahead and doing the trans cooler, but I really don't have time right now. I ain't trying to pull the front bumper off and all that, so I'm just gonna pop these lines out and just leave the actual fittings, and then that way the cooler lines that are in there will just pop right in and go from there. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated once we get the harness and the starter and everything back on. Alright you guys, so just got all the spark plug wires back on. Everything's all hooked up. So now the only thing that's left is literally the harness. So everything else on the engine is together and connected. Everything's looking so good. Swapped out the dipstick tube. Looks like it's leaking a little bit. Need to get this off there. So I'm not going to use that. Nice. And I need to get these off. And this little bracket there, but that's just little bullshit. Super easy. It's totally come together though. I'm super happy, super excited. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated. Should be going back in the car here pretty soon, so I'm pretty stoked. Oh yeah guys, I forgot we swapped the diff cover earlier as well, and the cup off of this one. So that's the cup that came out of the car, and the diff cover that was on this trans. See, there's that dented one, and look, it just doesn't even lock in place. So yeah, that diff cover, that seal in there was just junk. This one, it locks. So that's what I want. That's how I want it. So I'm happy with the progress. I'm going to keep working on this thing. About to grab the harness and get it strung on here and start getting everything hooked back up. And we'll be good to go. I got the cooler lines out of the trans and put the little clips back in. So now once it's in, they'll just go right in. I need to get this bolt off here and get that bracket. I got a ground wire that goes here. But damn, it's coming along. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update whenever we're about ready to get this thing put in the car. Alright you guys, so we've got the harness pretty much all ran. Pretty much got everything plugged in. So the only thing that's not plugged in yet is the rear O2. I've got it just tucked away up here. And I think that's it. Everything else is all plugged in, all together. Alternators hooked up. All the injectors are plugged in. That's just the battery cables and the ECM. But overall, everything else is all hooked up. Starter's in, got all the dust shields in, knock sensors are all plugged in, got my grounds tight, got my bracket here tight, AC compressor's plugged in. I need to put a zip tie through right there to hold that. But overall, everything's plugged in, so making shit ton of progress. She's pretty much ready to drop back in. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, y'all. Well, got her lifted up. Soon to be going back in here. Kind of gotta move some shit out of the fucking way. I really need to jack the thing up and get it back on jack stands. Move these axles and shit out of the way. But here pretty soon, she should be sitting back in there in her home. And it'll be nice and easy. We get everything all hooked back up a little at a time, and should be running again in no time. So it's about 11:10 right now. So got about 45 minutes or so until midnight. So we're pretty close. Like, I mean, I said I wanted to have it at least set back down in there by midnight. Like, I wanted to have it all done and running and driving, but that's just not going to happen. So, but it's all good. Made a shit ton of progress today. At least everything's all swapped around like I wanted. I got the timing set on there. Got new oil and filter.
ARPs.
Got the ARP head studs. Got the head swapped around. All the new gaskets. Swapped the coolant elbows. Got the intake painted. Got the red timing cover on there. Got the AC compressor swapped around. So I mean, there was quite a few different things I needed to get done. The transmission swap. So I'm very happy with the progress. So I guess the next one we're doing is going to be the 97. Getting that one all torn out and doing the same shit.
Oh yeah.
So, but yep, we're about to get her in here. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys. So I got her jacked up. Got the knuckles removed from the struts so I could get the axles pulled back out of the way, so now they're not as sticking out as far. And then since I was able to get that one swiveled up, I was able to kind of move the power steering pump over a little bit out of the way. So hopefully that will help all this and keep it from getting this tangled up while I'm dropping the engine and trans back in. So yep, it's looking pretty good. So it's getting there. I think I gotta lift this up quite a bit higher. Probably gonna have to put something like disconnect that rod, the fucking hood strut, and probably put something under it to hold the hood up higher. Because if not, then whenever I go to set this down, the cherry picker is probably gonna hit the hood. So I'll figure it out. I gotta get this raised up some more and start scooting her under, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, y'all, look at there. She's in there. She's not all the way in, but I got a couple bolts in here in the mount, sitting in place, so now I just need some dog bones. But she's in there. It's 11:54, so it's in the engine bay before midnight.
Freya helped.
So, oh yeah. That's Freya, good girl. But she's in there, so I'm going to just start getting everything hooked up and get all my mount bolts on and everything, and start getting her all hooked up. So y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated. You guys, so started getting some stuff hooked up. The engine mount is all the way in there, bolted down. This rear stud actually popped out of the mount, and so I had to push it back in there. And then the brand new oil filter, it kind of smacked on the frame rail right there and smashed in the filter. So I'm going to have to go buy another new filter. But it's alright. That's just like $3. No big deal. I did dump that gallon jug of new fresh oil in there. So it has oil in the pan. It's just I haven't cranked it or anything yet. So, but everything's going back together. Shifter cable's on, fuel rail's on, got the heater hoses on, radiator hoses are going on. I need to get the transmission cooler lines clipped into place and hook up the AC line to the compressor. But other than that, everything's coming together. It's just I need to get the fuse box back in here and get the power steering pump bolted on, get the belt on, and then get the fuse box in here and get all these plugs hooked up, and then battery and exhaust. But man, it's super close. It's coming, and it's not even 1 a.m. yet. So it's been a long 3-day project between salvage yard and pulling motors and transmissions and swapping shit and tearing engine apart and rebuilding it in a day. But not too bad. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated whenever I'm ready to. I got everything together and I'm ready to do first start. Man, y'all, she's coming along. Looking so good, looking like a fucking engine again. I got the power steering pump bolted back into place. Excuse me. We got all the radiator hoses and heater hoses all tightened down. Everything's tight. Got this extra ground tightened down. So now it's just that needs to go to the mass airflow. That goes into the intake tube. And then I got to hook up the AC line down here to the AC compressor. And then it's just fuse box, well, battery or belt, then fuse box, then battery. So it's coming along. And then I still got to hook up the exhaust before I can start it, because it's like past 1 o'clock in the morning now. So, but yeah, y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, you guys, so pretty much everything is hooked up except for the fuse box and the battery, but everything else pretty much, oh well, and the intake. And then I got some self-tappers here, so I can re-self-tapper that up there. And then the intake can go on, plug in the mass airflow sensor, plug that into the intake tube, and then it's pretty much just fuse box, battery, overflow tank, which is right there, and fill her up with coolant. I need to get another oil filter because that one's smashed, but it'll at least be good for the first startup. So, oh, and the exhaust. I still got to hook up the exhaust. So we're gonna take a break, run up to the store, get some sodas, and then we'll be back. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated whenever we're about to do this first start. Alright, you guys, so I've got the brake master bolted in. I accidentally ripped the wire out. I think I did that before, the last time when I did the engine swap, but it's connected so the brake light doesn't come on, but eventually I'm going to have to swap that out with another one. But I got the intake in, it's tight, got the mass airflow plugged in, got the computer screwed down with the self-tapper. Yeah. So shift cable's hooked up. AC line is hooked up and tight. The trans cooler lines are in. I need to tighten down that ground right there on the bell housing stud. And then the belt's on, power steering pump's on, everything else is connected. I still got to hook up the exhaust. But man, it looks like an engine in here now. So, and then I got all the axles put back together and got the struts back in. I just need to bolt on this brake line. Just bolt it back on up here, and then we'll be good to go. And then I can put wheels back on, and it'll just be some little shit. Hook up the exhaust, plug in the O2 sensor, and get this fuse box and battery in, get the crossbars in, and she'll be ready to start up. So I'm going to keep working on this thing. It's like probably 2:15 to 2:30 right now. I don't even know. I didn't look at the clock. But we're getting her done. So I really appreciate the help, David. I didn't think he was going to stay over here this late. But hell yeah, for real.
Get her done.
We getting there. And it's pretty much like a new engine now. And it was actually super clean on the inside. So, oh yeah, I got to get that in there too. Forgot about that. I should just like hook into that nut down there.
Oh, it's pissing.
Yeah, it's just some coolant. My bad. You got her?
Of course, it didn't want to go on the toot. There it is.
All right. Cool. And then the little nuts are in the cap fuse cover. All four of them are the same. Those little silver ones. Yep.
Oh yeah, we need the fuse block.
Yeah, it's I think it's in the front seat in the floorboard. But hell yeah, made a shit ton of progress. So we're gonna keep going, and I'll give you guys another update. All right, y'all. So got the wheels on. She's sitting on the ground. Pretty much everything's tightened up and hooked up. I got the exhaust hooked up. Fuse box is in, batteries hooked up. I haven't added trans fluid yet. I haven't added coolant yet. It's just full of oil, but I guess I can go ahead and do a first test start and see what we got. So here, let me find the keys. Okay, yeah. You wanna hold this?
Yeah, sorry.
Alright, here we go. Well, it runs. That could be something. This front spark plug broke, and I had to put this one in, so maybe this one isn't a good one or something. I don't know. I'll fuck with this some more. I need to get the trans filled up with trans fluid and get the radiator filled up, and then I'll mess with the wires and shit. So, hell yeah, she started up, so that's a good sign. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all, so just added a whole gallon of transmission fluid. I've got about half the gallon or so of coolant, so it's in there. Oh, it went down some. I can add some more now, but slowly making progress. So I'm still just kind of getting all the fluids filled up, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright guys, well, it's like 4:10 in the morning, and everything's in here. The car starts and runs, but it's misfiring. I've tried cleaning up this ground. I had forgotten that ground down there, but I got it tight. Everything else seems to be working. We did break off this front spark plug, so I'm going to check these other spark plugs. But it's super late. I've got to go to work here in like an hour and a half. Like, my alarms are going to start going off in like 45 minutes or so to get up and go to work. So I'm going to just call it quits for now and pick up all my tools and go take a shower and get changed so I can go to work. And I guess I got to plug my phone in because now it's about to die. I just lost flash. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more, and I'll keep you guys, yeah, you can tell I'm tired. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you then.